I'm going to try to encapsulate this into about 5 minutes. We'll see if I can do it. What has been going on with me and my weight cut stuff recently is that I kind of arrived at a point with my weight, which I will tell you in a minute, so hang in there, that I'm stabilizing things. I put on some mass, and I did. It's like obvious. I can see it. I can feel it. And I still want to compete at 114, so there's going to be a point where I have to stop putting on mass. So now it's kind of more a game of being at maintenance. So what does that mean? Well, when I started to bulk for, trying to be a little bit bigger for 114, and not kind of weigh in at under the weight class, because it's just never advantageous to do that. I was about 112. That's kind of on average where I was, and I made 105 from, depending on where I started, where you start counting where I made that weight cut up from. So now, in the morning, I weighed, 112, 113 in the morning. Now, I weigh between 117 and 119. So, I'm eating a lot more carbs. I'm on creatine. I've been a little bit sketchy about taking that regularly recently, but I was on it for like weeks and weeks and weeks, like very consistently. So I'm probably retaining slightly more water than I was for a while there. But yeah, that's an increase in weight, and I can make 114 from there, especially like 117. Jesus, that's easy. So I'm gonna stop, at least intentionally getting bigger. Who knows? I mean, I still am like not sure. This is all a big experiment. So that's, and I'm like doing okay with it. I think for a few weeks or months, let's say months, I was like, I do not know what is going to happen. But, I kind of clarified some stuff to myself, and that is that I want to compete at 114, and there are limits to how big you can be at 114. So I guess I feel pretty okay about this. There are some people, and I know it, who would probably encouraging me to forget about the weight class overall. There's a whole school in the sport that really discourages it unless you're like Dan Green. I mean, like, otherwise, like, why are you bothering? Who cares? Well, I do. I do have a shot at being ranked at 114. My deadlift is still on there from like October. It's on the national rankings. And it's up since then. I just did more than doubles with my with over that weight. So, like, I do have a reason to kind of be going out for, a certain weight class. I'm going to keep doing it. That's my defense, I guess. The other side of things is that I have definitely learned a little bit about combating, issues I was struggling with for a while there in terms of, self-confidence and bulking. And, just kind of doing all of this with the history of an eating disorder, which I have, to be totally honest, if you've read my blog, you know this. I will be honest with anybody about it. There's a lot of women in strength sports who kind of come from a background of having had some messed up issues with eating. There's a lot of women who've had messed up issues with eating, period. It's really common. Mine were like pretty acute, okay? Like, I could do a whole video about the history of my eating disorders. I was mostly anorexic. I hate to say it, but I'm going to be honest once again. Some of the crap from that comes in really handy when I have to manage my weight or when I have to get through periods of discomfort for making weight in terms of hunger or like whatever. It's true. I mean, you have to understand it, not let it like you can't let yourself use it to hurt you, but you can never undo like the time that you spend having a problem, an addiction, whatever. You can only kind of like move on. So I have a past that I drag around behind me, and I try to use it for good, I think. And maybe that's even why I'm talking about this right now, because I'm not going to be like, oh, that didn't happen, I'm like amazing athlete now, I take such good care of myself. Dude, it is hard some days, especially with this whole, this whole eating disorder thing dogging me. It's hard. Because I think you carry, when you've had this stuff or when you haven't, whatever, a lot of people have a very difficult time kind of perceiving themselves in a lot of different ways, not just physically, but like mentally. And I bounce around with a lot of that. If you talk to me, if you know me really well, which most of you don't, thank goodness. I don't think most of you want to, but if you are, if you have access to me on a pretty personal level, then man, like you've seen me like be in a pretty rough spot. Like Kyle gets to see this a lot. I feel really sorry for him, but guess what? He's really supportive and very helpful. And I've got some friends, shout out to Jenny Petrosino, and she can be really helpful too. So, sometimes you need ways to navigate the fact that your perception of yourself, whatever, in terms of training, in terms of how you look physically, in terms of just how you feel about yourself, you have to have ways of navigating your faulty ability to perceive. And I think going through this kind of mini bulk gave me a little bit of insight on that. It was a struggle, right? It wasn't fun, it was scary, and you tend to learn from those struggle, not fun, scary situations and experiences you go through. So at this point, I would say that something I realized is that, if I was not doing what I'm doing right now, which is very weight-centric, it's kind of it's a difficult thing for somebody who's like, hey, I have over 7 years logged with having an eating disorder issue in my past. Let me just compete in a weight class-based sport, and I'm going to try to stay little. Like, it's kind of scary to like listen to somebody who's, professing that, like that's what they're going to do. I imagine to an outsider, I sound like I'm not making a very good choice by doing what I'm doing. But at the same time, I have so much more self-awareness because of discomfort and trying to survive through discomfort. And I mean mental, I don't even mean physical. That's training. That's like easy, dude. Like people who have had eating disorders, it's all about getting through physical discomfort, okay? Or also mental, but, or causing it, or like whatever. I have a lot of experience with it. So I guess I just want to say that like I'm gonna continue to be pretty honest, very honest, like I am right now, with where things are in terms of my thought process and trying to manage my weight, for another weight class. I'm happy I'm a little bigger. I can tell my body is way happier as it is right now, but it's still like it's a difficult process, all of it. So I'm going to go train. That was my update, and hopefully you have a good training session whenever your next one is. Thanks for watching.